Welcome to the MarcWes Sports Podcast.
This is the MarcWes Sports Podcast, NFL Draft edition. So, normally we break down topics, whether it be political, sports, hip hop. We talk about it all, and we give you that real. But of course, this is one of the best days of the year for me. Is
Me
the
too.
NFL Draft, because it's like the two of my worlds combined, basically three of my worlds, because I get to see high school players that I covered, and just see them, finally make it to the league. There's a couple players that we might see during this podcast, like Patrick Surtain Jr., who, is from the crib and played at Alabama and likely is going to be picked in the top 10. But, what we'll do is when the pick comes on, we'll commissioner get on and announce his pick. And then we'll give you our commentary on the pick, as far as what the team did and the player as well. So Wes, just tell me your feelings about just the draft overall, and what are you expecting in this top five?
Well, I mean, we spoke on this before. We both kind of had the first five picks kind of like sealed. We felt Trevor Lawrence from Clemson was probably going to go to Jacksonville. I'm not sure if I just, the same. I'm not sure if you've seen the same thing that I seen earlier on Instagram of Trevor Lawrence have the same like gas mask, like if you're smoking marijuana on.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know if that was a Photoshop. I don't know if that's true, if it's not true. You know what I'm saying? But I seen that. I'm like, nah, it can't be going down again. He don't want to go to Jacksonville. He want to make sure he have a good career, a lasting career. If he fall, then he could go to a better team, a more established team that don't have that many weaknesses that they actually have to draft. So hopefully that is not true. But I really don't want it to be true, because I don't want him to find a way to land to the evil empire or anybody in the AFC. I'm not trying to deal with any of that. We already got to deal with Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, so hopefully that's not true. But as far as with the second pick, of course, I do think that the Jets will go ahead and get Zach Miller
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, and solidify their quarterback position. That New York Jets been garbage for years. So we'll go ahead and see. Really, what I'm worried about is the Dolphins pick. Of course, I really want to get Kyle Pitts, but like just the other day, they wind up, getting rid of, Eric Flowers from the Miami Dolphins and traded him to the Washington football team. So I'm not sure if it's a smoke screen, to have other teams try to trade up, saying that we are possibly in the mix of getting a tackle, but for me, I really don't want that to happen. Hopefully, the Cincinnati Bengals go ahead and get that tackle and keep their quarterback upright. We do have the Falcons ahead of us. We got the Cincinnati Bengals ahead of us. So going back to the Dolphins pick, where I really feel is our world. You see our background. Both of us have Miami Dolphins in the background. So hopefully, the draft goes the way we been saying on the MarcWes Sport Podcast, and it's a win-win for the Miami Dolphins, and we get the player that we want, which is Kyle Pitts. I'm not sure right now. I don't even know where we're going right now. Brian Flores went ahead and got me looking crazy right now. So it's out of that we're gonna get Kyle Pitts, we're gonna get Devontae Smith, or we're gonna get Jamar Chase. But it'll be. Did you even think about if they would to go ahead and bring back the gruesome twosome with Cincinnati and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow? That can be a something that we go ahead and look at, because we do know that they got rid of I think AJ Brown, from the actual Cincinnati Bengals, and they need a quarterback, not quarterback, but a wide receiver. So, we'll see what happens, and hopefully it happens the way we think is going to happen.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, first off about Zach Wilson, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that the first two picks are going to be the first two picks. As far as Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville, that seems like a foregone conclusion for months, maybe even years. And Zach Wilson, reports came out this week that he was talking to ex-Jets quarterbacks. So he spoke to Sanchez,
Yeah.
he spoke to Pennington. So that seems like a foregone conclusion to me. And I'm okay with that because out of all of the quarterbacks that are going to be drafted, to me, he has the biggest bust potential for me.
Exactly.
So that's good because I hate the Jets. Obviously, if you see my shirt that I had on right now, you'd be laughing at the words because it says I often hate sometimes, but when I do, I hate on the Jets and the Patriots. So you already know I'm against the evil empire and the stinky Jets. So Kyle Pitts, though, obviously, me and you are in unison with that pick, but I'm starting to think that he's not going to be available. I'm starting to think that Atlanta is going to pick him because I don't see any reason why they don't. Why don't they? Because they don't really have a big name tight end, and Julio Jones is getting up in age, and he can't get open as much from the double team as he used to. So if he gets single coverage, of course, Julio Jones is going to be in an advantage. So I think Kyle Pitts, you add that to that offense, and then you might have some potential.
Exactly.
Atlanta, I don't see any other logical pick to me for them. And I do also want to mention too that today, I don't know if you saw this, Wes, but Aaron Rodgers said he wants out of Green Bay.
Yeah, I seen that. I was kind of like, is this serious?
Yeah.
I'm like, really? And it's crazy, like I think everybody in the league has that Tom Brady effect, that they seen that he chose his destiny. I mean, it was late in his career, of course, some people do say Tom Brady is the GOAT, but in his later part of his career, which was last year, he went ahead and won a Super Bowl. And I guess, that's why Russell Wilson you have rumblings with Russell Wilson. Now you have Aaron Rodgers coming out saying that, he really don't want to be with the Jets. That's and then you have the Deshaun Watson case, him, saying what he was saying with him not wanting to be in Houston. So we were saying that it is a trend. We, and we see the trend is continuing. So, what Aaron Rodgers, wanting to be, shopped away, that's something hard. But going back to what you were saying with Atlanta, I do really think that Kyle Pitts is going to be gone because, I did hear on the radio this morning that Atlanta's been taking calls on shopping Julio Jones,
Yeah,
and I'm like, what? When I heard that, I'm like, oh, man. You know what I mean? Like, you got Julio Jones, which is a beast. Everybody know Alabama, they produce great players, crazy, they normally find them in Miami, but that's another case. But still, I really do think that he's going to be gone. But if he is gone, like we said with Brian Flores, you have Devontae Smith that's still on the board. Probably you have Waddle that's still probably on the board. Me personally, I do think Waddle is a better player than Devontae Smith. But again, we know who has the Heisman. But again, we do know who had better numbers when he was actually healthy. So
right. Exactly.
Think about it, like on Marcus, like let's just say we go ahead and get Waddle. What do you think is really going to go ahead and happen to Jakeem Grant? Because we do know that the actual owner is somebody that did vouch for Jakeem Grant before he actually got drafted. I don't think anybody in the actual war room was looking at Jakeem Grant. So, hey, Waddle's even one of these players, that's possibly can go to the Miami Dolphins. So, hey, it is what it is. We'll go ahead and see right now. We have 8 minutes before the Jacksonville Jaguars go ahead and pick.
Yeah, Jacksonville is officially on the clock right now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And already know where they're going with that. If they don't go with Trevor Lawrence, that'll be a big shocker, but we'll see. But I tell you what about Jalen Waddle, though. Jalen Waddle scares me, bro. He scares me as in it seems like he's another Devontae Parker. Like
Me too.
Devontae Parker, he's a great player now after like 2 years of not doing anything because he was
Mm-hmm.
injured in his last year. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's an eerily similar situation. Like of the three receivers that we talking about, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle, give me Jamar Chase if he's there.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he is. Because
Yes.
Cincinnati, if you ask me, Cincinnati should do the right thing and get the O lineman. They got the
Exactly.
quarterback. Just go ahead and get the O lineman. You got enough playmakers, I think, to be competitive. I mean, they were in every game last season, and Joe Burrow got hurt obviously because their offensive line is trash, and it has been trash for a long time. So I don't see any reason why they don't pick Penei Sewell for their pick, which they pick fifth, we pick sixth. So that gives us an opportunity to get Chase. And Chase would be my number one pick because kid balled, man. The kid just, I mean, him and the other player from LSU were just unstoppable when they won the championship 2 years ago. So I definitely want to see Chase, and I'm not sold on Waddle. I'd rather have Devontae Smith. I know he's small, but there's a lot of small players that ball out. Santana Moss, Steve Smith. That there's other just small receivers. Jakeem Grant, like you were just mentioning. Julian Edelman, Wes Welker. You can go on and on. Deshaun Jackson. You can go on and on with the small receivers that are productive enough in the NFL. So I take Devontae Smith if he's there. I'll be a little disappointed if they go with Waddle. Although Devontae Smith said himself that Waddle is a better receiver than him. He said that himself. So I mean, I'm scared of the pick, but I wouldn't be stomping my feet mad about it. But I'd be like, I'd rather go with Devontae Smith. So I mean, we'll see what happens because who knows what's going to happen with that third pick too, because that's the one that's kind of questionable too. Will San Francisco pick Mac Jones, which is basically what everybody's saying, but if he don't, I heard Trey Lance today that could be a possibility.
What you think about that,
Um,
Trey Lance?
I like Trey Lance a lot. To me, he reminds me of Russell Wilson. Like he reminds me of Russell Wilson and probably a little bit more accurate coming out of college. I don't know if you've seen his tape, but his tape is amazing. His
I
tape
seen
is like
I seen him. He's a big guy, a big raw receiver. He runs. He has the running game kind of like Josh Allen. What really makes me really like him is that he can control the O line. And when you have a quarterback that's smart enough and young and already smart like that. Now again, you got to be smart to be a quarterback anyway. But again, when you do actually go to the league, you actually can see if you're smart or you're one of these elite smart leaders. Also, so he actually go ahead and tell the O line who to block. We know Kyle Shanahan, likes doing a lot of things before the actual snap. So if you got a quarterback that's intelligent enough to know certain things or not waste time and on small things that young quarterbacks do have to learn, what the pains, the ups and the downs. I think it would be an easy transition with him, with Kyle Shanahan as his head coach, to kind of put them on the right track. Because personally, I don't think that they traded all of that to get Mac Jones. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't think so?
I don't think they did for him. I think, my whole thing is, Mac Jones, he's not the GOAT.
Mac Jones.
He's not Tom Brady, but that's who people compare him to. So,
Yeah, it's not
I
fair, but yeah.
understand that. And I understand that if you compare him to Tom Brady, they did get Garoppolo, a few years back. And, at one point, Bill Belichick felt like Garoppolo was better than Tom Brady, enough to go ahead and ship Tom Brady away because he was so pissed off that he didn't get to keep his quarterback that he drafted and he groomed. So Trey Lance, we both of us did say Matt Jones, the last podcast, but I really do feel now, since all these last minute things happening, with the Dolphins trading Eric Flowers, with the Instagram photo that I've seen of Sunshine. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we'll go ahead and wait and see. We have like 2 minutes left before the actual Jacksonville Jaguars go ahead and pick their player. We both agree is probably Sunshine, but the way everything is going right now, like, is up in the air.
Yeah, you just kind of never know. And the other possibility too, since Aaron Rodgers, let's not forget, he's from California, man. Like, I could see San Francisco pulling off a trade, just trade their pick to Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers goes over to San Francisco. He goes back home. He goes to a virtual really good team who just didn't have a quarterback last year. That was their only real problem. They didn't have a quarterback. Their quarterback Garoppolo, decent enough. They made it to the Super Bowl with Garoppolo, but he was hurt pretty much the entire season last season. So, and he's kind of, sometimey. He's not an elite quarterback. He's like a Tannehill. He's like a middle of the road type of quarterback to me. So I think San Francisco, they should contact Green Bay right now and say, hey, you want the third pick? You get Mac Jones, or you get Trey Lance. You get whatever quarterback you want, except for Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence, because we think they're going to go 1-2. So I think that would be kind of like the blockbuster trade, but we'll see if it happens. If it happens, it's going to happen in the next 20 minutes. So, I mean, if that happens, that'd be the major news of the day. But I can see it happening. I can see it happening even after, they get drafted, because it happens.
Yeah,
but
that's
it just
great.
makes sense. It seems like it makes sense to me. If you're not happy in Green Bay, why not go to, Kyle Shanahan, like you said, quarterback friendly type of coach, and really, you got a solid defense over there in California, and you got and you go back home. You go back to your home state, and it looks like the pick is in with Jacksonville.
Yes, we'll go ahead and wait and see what they actually say. Right now, I don't look like it's in. I'm looking at another screen right now at home. It's not on the screen, that we have for you guys right now, but it's saying the picks is in. Let's see, who we actually have as the first pick. Let's wait 1 second. I'm looking at, hold on. Oh, okay. From what I'm getting at home, who it looks like. There we go.
He has his wife there. Congratulations, just got married. There's his mom, his dad. And he said, you guys, he wanted to be home for this draft because he wanted to spend this time in this special moment in his life with his family. He didn't want to go to Cleveland. He wanted to stay true to himself and be at home with his family, with his brother, who actually looks exactly
his
like
brother
him.
Chase, who, if you have not read up on Chase Lawrence and just the free spirit that guy is, rocking the cheetah print jacket right now, no wonder Trev is so calm about so many things, because that's the family influence
he just has like this air about himself that nothing is going to faze him, and that obviously comes from Chase, and like just the background of being inquisitive to a point where you feel assured with whatever decision that you do make.
It is. And this is a decision they should feel secure about. We've talked about, and Jason mentioned, it is uncertainty at the top of this draft. That's why we talk so much about the Niners pick at 3, because whoever's drafted by them to play quarterback is walking into a markedly better situation. But all you can do is work with the gifts of the player that's available. And if you're talking about best available, there was no other choice in this draft.
Ain't no way you were going to go away from this guy being at the top of the draft class meant everything to Urban Meyer because of what he has to.
So Trevor Lawrence going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, where dreams go to die. Going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. And I mean, I'm getting that line from Ballers. I gotta say that. You know, they said that in Ballers, and I died laughing. So every time I see the Jacksonville Jaguars, I was like, oh, that's where dreams go to die.
Exactly.
You know, so hopefully things won't die for them. You know, I mean, I'm not a fan of the Jaguars, obviously, but you know, if you're the GM of the Jaguars or a fan of Jaguars, hopefully things work out for him. To me, Lawrence,
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, calling him Trey Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, to me, this is a player that there's few players outside of Florida that I've seen in high school. He's one of them, and I've seen him play in the All-American game too. And I was like, okay, he looks the part. And once you've seen him play at Clemson, you're like, okay, this guy's the real deal. And then he wins them a championship. You're like, wow, okay. And he brought them to a second national championship as well, but got shut down by an Alabama defense who doesn't. But the most interesting part about the pick is that he's going and he's meeting with Urban Meyer, former coach of Ohio State.
Yeah.
So he's a guy who has proven his worth as a coach in college at Utah. At first, Utah was undefeated, but since they weren't in a Power 5 conference, they didn't play for a championship. Then he went to Florida, won 2 championships. Then he went to Ohio State, won another championship. So he has proven his worth as a college coach. You can arguably say he's the best college coach of this era behind Nick Saban. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with them in that combination. And you know, we'll see what happens. But from what I saw from Trevor Lawrence, one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen from high school, one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in college. But we all know the NFL is a different story.
Yeah, I haven't followed Trevor Lawrence that long like Marcus have, but you know, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with Marcus because you know I'm gonna go ahead and I know with Marcus he evaluates these players well. Of course, you know, he'd be at the 7-on-7s. Of course, he have the Benjamin report. He'd be one-on-one with these actual players from high school all the way to college. So I'm gonna go ahead and agree with what you're saying, and also the short little time that I actually watched Trevor Lawrence, and he's been a winner ever since. You know, being at Clemson, doing his thing. You know, have that running back ATN. Hopefully, they put the right pieces around him. But like you said, you got Urban Meyer, which is one of the best quarterbacks of this time. You know, I kind of disagree with him being behind Nick Saban. Nick Saban, yes, but I say no because every time they go head to head, who wind up winning? Urban Meyer's teams. So we know one not quarterback, but one head coach has more rings, more titles. But you know, if you see, he goes, like you said, he came from Utah, he won there. He went to Florida, you know, Florida State, he won there, and he also went to Ohio State and he won there. So you know, he always was on the up and up. You know, of course, he get to stay in a state where there's no tax, where of course you get to still enjoy the beaches, the weather, the women, and you know, I feel like, you know, the head coach is in a comfortable place. I think he's going to put Trevor Lawrence in the best situation to succeed because he do know football. And we'll see how that actually goes. You feel me? Again, second pick will be in a second. It says in right now. We kind of probably
the pick is in for the Jets.
Pick is in.
Supposed to be going.
You know, we kind of have an idea where you know, the Jets are kind of hovering. You know, they're on the screen right now. You know, again, like crazy numbers: 15.2 yards, points per game, yards per game, 279.
That's how the old Dolphins used to look.
Yeah, I remember them days.
Look just like that, man. But you know, they the new seller of the NFL. But yeah, man, Jacksonville is going to be a rebuilding process. I believe Trevor Lawrence only lost maybe 5 games in his entire football playing career, and that's including high school. So,
and is that also including him being injured?
I mean, yeah.
Or starting?
I believe, yeah, starting.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's gonna lose more than 5 games this season. So he's gonna have a real reality check. So Goodell is at the podium right now, gonna make the second pick for the NFL draft, and it looks like they're going with who we thought.
Zach Wilson. Okay.
He is the guy.
They're watching just like we're watching, Zach Wilson. Hold on 1 second.
So the Disney quarterback.
Disney quarterback. He does look like a Disney quarterback.
He is going to the New York Jets.
But he has like
He's a franchise guy.
he has a swagger that is through this roof, right?
And his name is Zach too.
Disney villain.
Let's go. Like, of the ilk of who was my band in Beauty and the Beast, who was problematic,ly
I was just saying,
but like not right. Anyways. Swagger through the roof, man. Clowned Aaron Rodgers for his lack of style and swagger off of the field, right? But he carries himself like in a way that's charismatic with the swagger too, right? Guys want to go to war with him because of it.
They do, and I would say this because so much of the conversation pre-draft has felt like a slight against Zach Wilson,
right?
Because a lot of us have argued in favor of Justin Fields. Go back to football season, and those of us that cover it and around it reminded you there was no more exciting player in college football that people weren't paying attention to. That Coastal Carolina game that people use as a slight, I saw as a testament to them and their ability, their willingness to go out there and play people in an obscure season. He's unbelievable with the off-platform throws. He's got an...
Okay.
I mean, hey, I'll just go first about Zach Wilson, man. I think it's a mistake by the New York Jets, to pick Zach Wilson over Trey Lance, over Justin Fields. I think it's a big mistake. The Jets, they don't know what the draft is about. They just don't know how to run a franchise, and they're going to continue to be garbage because of this pick. To be honest, I probably would have kept Sam Darnold for another year, but for you to trade, and that's what they did. They just drafted Sam Darnold. I want to say 2 years ago. You just drafted a quarterback. He was hurt all last season. He showed flashes here and there, and you don't play it out, or you don't trade down for more picks or something like that. Or, you probably could get Justin Fields late. Justin Fields might drop. You never know. To trade up for Zach Wilson is a bum ass move by the New York Jets once again, and that's why they're a bum franchise. And I just don't believe Zach Wilson. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Who knows? Maybe he will. But the reason why I say this for real is because you played at BYU, okay, and you played at a school that is not, the last great. Yes, Steve Young went there. Whatever. That was like in the 80s, and Ty Detmer, a quarterback, he won the Heisman and he was a bust. People don't probably even know who Ty Detmer is, but he was a bust and he won the Heisman at BYU. And I think he may fall somewhere in the middle. And I think he might be a decent quarterback, but to pick him number 2 overall, when you didn't play against top level talent, I just can't see it. I can't remember the last, there's been some small school quarterbacks that have done well. Steve McNair went to a black school. He did well. The word is still out on Carson Wentz. He went to a small school as well. But I take my chances if you played against some big league talent. And he had not played against big league talent. And last season, his toughest game was against Coastal Carolina. And they lost. Come on, man. Like Zach Wilson, Jets, you're a bum franchise for picking Zach Wilson, but I'm glad you picked him because I'm a Dolphins fan. He was in the background.
Yes. And I agree with every point you actually made. But I love every second of it. I'm going to agree with everything, but my first point is going to be what you said last. I'm happy for it because why? You see our background. So we do know that they were going to make a bumbling, idiotic pick. Not the Dolphins, but the actual Jets. Normally, they're a garbage franchise. Something about New York, they're always losing, when it comes to the New York Knicks, and we're not talking about this year's Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets. We're talking about like New York, we know it's the Big Apple, but they tend to make the wrong decisions when it comes to quarterbacks, when it comes to picking players in any sport. So when it comes to the quarterback position, I really do feel like they should have stuck with Sam Darnold. Of course, we do know that they had a idiotic coach. They had the coach that we threw away in the Miami Dolphins. That's why I'm kind of giving Devontae Parker a pass. We do know when it comes ultimately down to it, if you don't never put them in the best position to succeed, or if you just being snobby, I mean, you have give you an example. If you're working at a job, which most of Americans are doing right now, and my boss is pleasant, then I'll go out my way to look out, but if you're a bad supervisor or anything in that regard, I'm not trying to put myself on the line for you. No, I'm not picking up any other shifts. So again, when it comes down to the Jets, it was a garbage head coach, a garbage franchise, and they didn't even give Sam Darnold the actual shot that he deserved. For me, I would have actually kept Sam Darnold also, and probably still possibly draft a quarterback, because if you that's not the quarterback that I drafted. That was a quarterback that the last coach drafted, and I'm not trying to put my job on the line for a quarterback that I probably wouldn't have picked. Even if he's good or bad, I would probably go in the direction that I want, because we do know with quarterback, you die with the quarterback. You got to live with that quarterback, and if that's the quarterback that you haven't drafted, then possibly you should draft a quarterback. So again, right now, I'm happy that it was him that actually got picked and not Trey Lance or any other of these quarterbacks that's in the that possibly would be in the AFC. We already got to deal with Josh Allen with Buffalo, and Buffalo been garbage for years, and they finally turned it around. Same like the Miami Dolphins. We've been garbage for years, and we're turning it around. We don't need too many people in the AFC turning it around. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Speaking of that, and I hate to put a damper on this, but the Patriots seem like they're in a position to get Justin Fields. I feel like if he falls down far enough, I feel like they're gonna trade up to get Justin Fields. That is just my guess. We'll see how everything plays out tonight, but to me, that seems like the right play for them. Hopefully, that's not the right play for us, obviously, but that seems like the right play for them. It looks like
why would anybody help the evil empire? That would really piss me off, because why would anybody help Bill Belichick in the evil empire? So hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah. Looks like the pick is in for San Francisco 49ers. There was no trade, so it looks like that trade I was talking about has not happened. Yeah, it could happen in the future. You never know. I'm gonna let you announce who they pick.
Okay.
And then you'll just give your take.
Hold on right now. I'm looking on my screen right now. We know it's Hold on. Trey Lance, like we said. I mean, North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance just got picked by the San Francisco 49ers, and he looking fresh out there with his fitted actual suit. Hold on, let's go ahead and see.
Heck out of that ball, and he loves to get everybody involved in doing so. A lot of motion, a lot of deception, and it's sort of a run package that's built around a guy that is very talented with the ball in his hands down the field in that regard.
So Trey Lance, take everything that you've heard, obviously the level of competition, playing in the FCS at North Dakota State, which is a powerhouse.
Yes.
It's a program you can trust. Think about the similarities to Kyle Shanahan's offense. They ran a ton of multi-tight end sets there. Absolutely. He was under center as much or more as any quarterback coming out of this year's draft. Great deep ball accuracy, but when you talk to people and you hear around the league about this guy in the process leading up, talking brilliant when it comes to football IQ. People rave about his ability to digest, process, and just learn. He sounds like one of the guys through this pre-draft process we always talk about that has really endeared himself to teams with the way and the aptitude.
The amount of responsibility that he had at the line of scrimmage, setting protections, allowing himself to sort of draw the dirt in real time as far as orchestrating that North Dakota State offense to his liking. And he took advantage of it fully and really did a dang good job of doing it, taking care of the football.
That's crazy, hearing what these other analysts, are actually saying.
Like
they sound exactly, let's see, but again, we do know Marcus is actually one of these guys. He's not on that platform yet, on that stage yet.
One day, I keep thinking that. I keep saying that. Sorry to cut you, but every time I watch the draft and I see these reporters, I'll be like, damn, one day that's gonna be me up there, That's
yes. You feel me? Exactly. And we see, but my whole thing is you'll be up there, and of course you're gonna go ahead and have your side shows, the Benjamin Report, and also the MarcWes Sport Podcast. So you already know, we know what we're talking about because we just went on this whole spiel before these drafts actually came out. And we again, we did say it was gonna be some shuffling in the actual draft, compared to the picks that we had on the previous sports podcast, but it's going exactly like we said the first few minutes of our podcast. We said it was going to be sunshine to the Jaguars. We said it was going to be, of course, the bumbling Jets doing what they do, picking their quarterback. And now you have Trey Lance, someone that we were saying that is one of the smartest people in the draft as far as quarterbacks. He set his own protections on the O-line. We did say he's a big quarterback. He has a strong arm. He's very accurate. And of course, it wound up happening exactly like we said on the MarcWes Sport Podcast. So, for me, it's a good thing because, it do show that you still can get drafted if you do go to a small school. It doesn't necessarily need to be these big powerhouses like the Alabamas and the Ohio States, work in your craft and that dream, like what Marcus is actually saying of him actually being on that stage, it'll eventually happen for you. So, good thing, to Trey Lance, fifth youngest quarterback selected in the NFL draft, 20 years old, 355 days. So, that is a good thing, and I am liking his attire, he's with the fitted slim suit, He's
got a fresh fit. I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. It got the slim cut, and looking at him, when you actually hear certain names, that you were for greatness. You know what I'm saying? It. Trey Lance, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Certain names just like have a ring to it. And looking at him on the screen at my house, he do look like he can be a franchise quarterback, and it's life changing. And so shout out to him and his family. Real good pick.
Definitely. I'm glad you just mentioned a family because I saw like a little piece on ESPN about his family. He comes from a good family that encouraged him because obviously he went to a small school, where it's risky because you're not going to get as much limelight. Although North Dakota State is the best team in FCS, they're the best team on that level. So he went to the best team. Obviously, he's not going to play the Alabamas and the Ohio States of the world. And I know people who probably watching this podcast like, yo, you just dog Zach Wilson and he played for BYU. And that's not FCS. But the intangibles that I see from Trey Lance is what puts him above Zach Wilson for me. And they, just like how they spoke on it on that piece, I just feel like his intangibles are better. And and Carson Wentz was a player who came from this exact same school. So obviously they have a pedigree of producing quarterbacks, elite quarterbacks. And I am still a little nervous about the competition because the competition he was playing with in FCS was nothing near of what Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones or Justin Fields was playing. But I just feel like this player is probably not going to be great out of the gate. But I think over time, he's going to be extremely dynamic. And I think his dynamics are what sets him apart from the other quarterbacks. And it looks like the pick is in for the Falcons. And I was thinking maybe they might take a quarterback, because if they don't take
that
Pitts,
also, because like we said, Matt Ryan, he's coming up in age. He hasn't been the quarterback that I guess they thought he was the first half of his career being in the NFL. Of course, we don't know how long he's going to be in the NFL, especially if they do draft a quarterback. But he actually had his numbers. But again, it goes back to Father Time. Father Time is undefeated. You got Julio Jones that's breaking down. Last year, he didn't really play that many games. We do hear that they're shuffling him around. Hopefully they pick who we want them to pick, and now not Kyle Pitts. But again, we'll go ahead and see who they actually picked.
Because if they don't pick Pitts, that means he's coming out.
The Dolphins.
So let's see what happens.
Let's see.
Is at the podium
right now.
Odell is at the podium. The pick is in, and they have selected, unfortunately, Kyle. So the Atlanta Falcons take our dream pick away from us like some candy from a baby, and I'm crying. You can't see the tears, but inside, I'm crying right now, because if Tua had Kyle Pitts as his safety blanket, along with Gesicki, we'd be unstoppable, that offense. But unfortunately, whatever, is on to the next one. Let's see if we can get Jamar Chase. We both said that is a possibility that Cincinnati could pick Jamar Chase, because they was boys in college, and they'd be like, yo, come through to Cincinnati and we could run this back. I can see that happening, but I think the smart pick for Cincinnati is to pick an offensive line. You see what happened to your franchise quarterback. You saw what happened to your franchise quarterback in his rookie season, and he was balling in his rookie season. They were still losing games, but they were close, but he was balling. It wasn't him. He was running around for his life pretty much the entire time, and he was still making plays. So, Joe Burrow, definitely not a bust, living up to the hype of being the number one pick last year. I think you protect that pick, man. Protect him. Get an offensive lineman. And if Cincinnati doesn't get this offensive lineman, then I'm really going to be scared for this next pick, because that means the Dolphins might pick this offensive lineman, and I don't want that. Now, I'm not saying our offensive line is the best in the world, but it's good enough. I think Tua was in trouble last season in the pocket because he didn't make the right read, or he didn't make the pre-snap read, or receivers weren't open. A lot of time receivers just weren't open because our receivers were hurt. A lot of them were hurt last season, and we did not have a full squad of wide receivers. That's why Gesicki was eating a lot, because he was like the only player really consistently getting open. So I don't want an offensive lineman. Cincinnati, you got 5 minutes and 45 seconds to pick your offensive lineman, because obviously Atlanta just crushed my dream with Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to be a superstar. I think he's going to be one of the best tight ends in the league. Tight end is one of those positions as well that there's really not that many great ones in the league. I would say there's maybe 5 really good tight ends in the league. And I think automatically Kyle Pitts becomes one of those great top 5 tight ends in the league.
Right now, I'm disappointed. I know you see me like feeling some type of way. I'm like, Kyle Pitts is exactly who we wanted. And of course, like you said, they stole him away just like they just stole candy from a baby. I feel like, I just went trick-or-treating, had a whole bag full of candy, and I was young. And then the big kids just, before I was home, made it to the house, they just stole all my candy. That's how I'm feeling right now in this situation. You got him right now, you have his tape right now. Let's see what they say on him.
The pennies on sale, thank you, clearance. I'm going to go to NFL.com, and I'm going to buy you a Kyle Pitts Falcons jersey, because I freaking love this pick. I will never forget asking David Pollack on College Football Live last year. I said, how do you stop Kyle Pitts? And the answer was, he laughed at me and he said, you don't. And then he sent me a bunch of cut-ups of them attempting to triple team Kyle Pitts where he still got the ball. This is not a good pick. It's a great pick. And I think if there's anybody in this draft not named Trevor Lawrence that is this is the guy you can bank on that's going to have a monster career, it's Kyle Pitts. You are going to be celebrating this, and I'm going to hug you through all of it every step. I'm buying you a dang jersey.
First of all, I'm so glad the hex is over. Second of all, you know how quarantine's done a lot of bad things for most of our bodies, a lot of people accelerating into dad bod. T-Scale somehow keeps that XL frame going. The dude, I'm not sure.
That is crazy. I'm looking at him, you know.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say about Kyle Pitts is that when I first started to see him play, like I wasn't watching the Florida games. I'd just be seeing highlights of him. And when I seen him, I was like, damn, that's a big receiver. You know, that's the first thing that came to mind. That's a big wide receiver. And then I find out he's a tight end. Like, what? It's crazy, man. He's 6'6" too. And I mean, he's just a big target. He can run. He ran a 4.4, I believe. So you got somebody who's big, can catch the football, and is fast.
You know, you're making me more upset while you're saying this. You're making me more upset while you're saying all of this. You feel me? I'm just like it's just like you're digging my grave more because I'm just like, you know.
I feel you though. I feel you. I'm just giving you my analysis of him and what I saw, but I feel you, man. You see the hat, you see the background, you already know what team I'm representing. But like Kyle Pitts is that dude. I don't remember a tight end really coming out of college in recent memory that I was so sure that he was going to be a Pro Bowl type of tight end. You know, like, you know, I can't, nothing really.
Was a receiver.
Huh?
You thought he was a receiver, how he looked.
He was a receiver. Like the way he looks, I was like, Florida got a really good receiver over there in 84. And then I find out he's a tight end. I don't know, you know, how he is blocking, you know, because they haven't really talked about how well he is as a blocker, but you don't need him as a blocker. You could just, you know, you can get like a good blocking tight end probably in the 6th round if you really need, you know, a blocking tight end, you know, and he's big anyway, so he can't be that terrible. And I'm sure they're going to coach him up to be a good blocker. So
that's exactly what I'm saying. You know, I'm saying that, you know, like you know, his home team, you know, he's from Florida. We both hate the Gators, but have that type of caliber player, everything that Marcus said, you know, thinking that he's a wide receiver, but he's really a tight end. You know, going back to our last podcast, who do you think the best receivers is in the draft? I'm going ahead and saying Kyle Pitts because he's technically like a wide receiver because he's big and he runs fast like a wide receiver, you know. So generational player that everybody's been saying, you know, he comes from, you know, our state, you know, the Sunshine State, you know, he's not from Miami, but, you know, it's all Florida teams first. Of course, it's going to be UM first and Florida State last, you know, but again, regardless of the fact, no, not Florida State, the Gators last, excuse me. It's normally the Gators last, but again, I do like that pick, you know. Always gonna be a mismatch for linebackers. Like he runs a 4.4. I don't know many linebackers that run 4.4s. I think I know there's probably one linebacker that was drafted last year that runs like a 4.4. But how many times are you gonna see that linebacker? You know, so you know, so for me, you know, Kyle Pitts, outstanding pick, generational pick. You know.
And then we already talked about like how he's going to be playing over there with Julio Jones now.
Oh my God.
And you know, it's just, oh man, it's like, I mean, it's really what they needed because so many games were close games for Atlanta that they would just lose because they couldn't just finish off games.
They had no safety net.
First downs that they needed. So now they have that safety net now. If they need a first down desperately, just throw it to him over the middle, high. And he's gonna come down with it.
Oh my God,
I
man.
mean, we'll see. It looks like the pick is in for the Bengals. So
Yeah, the pick is in for the Bengals. We'll see who they actually pick. Hopefully it's Penei Sewell. I see Roger Goodell. He's actually walking to the actual podium.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they do not.
Hold
Hopefully
on. What he's saying? What he's saying?
That offensive lineman.
What he's saying?
All right, the Bengals select
Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase. Didn't I say that? I was like, yo, let's just say that they go ahead and create the gruesome twosome all over again with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, man.
Right. Yeah, this is another disappointing pick. So far, it's been a disappointing draft so far, except for the Trey Lance pick. Everything else and the Zach Wilson pick. Everything else I've been kind of disappointed on, just because Jamar Chase is another big receiver.
1 second, they're talking about him. 1 second.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase is the next best thing you can go for here, because Mina, looking at the wide receiver conversation we had this year in the draft, Devontae Smith wins the Heisman, but he's a little on the smaller side. People haven't seen Jamar Chase in a year since the opt-out, but this is a guy that on a record-setting offense looked like he might have been the best player outside of Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, and the criticism of Jamar Chase at times was, how much of it is Joe Burrow placing the ball perfectly? Well, you no longer have to worry about that because Joe Burrow is going to be throwing him the ball in the NFL. I mean, he's a bully, his ability to win both at the line of scrimmage and at the point of contact, is unreal. He has grown man strength, as you say. I would have gone Penei, and now I think just to spin it forward, this becomes a really interesting question for Miami because there's been assumption for a while that Miami would go pass catcher and Chase. I think they should take Penei.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's something that they thought they would do, but protecting Tua.
I had to go ahead and once she made that comment about.
You got to go ahead and mute that.
I do not want to see Penei in a Miami Dolphins uniform right now. This year is a offensive line heavy draft. So hopefully that don't happen now. What you were saying as far as the pick with Jamar Chase, you was right in before he actually said something.
I just wanted to say on that LSU football team, to me, he was the best receiver on that team. And he was on the same team with Justin Jefferson, who made the Pro Bowl as a rookie last season. So that's all you need to know really about Jamar Chase.
It looked like the Dolphins is in quick. You feel me? The Dolphins know who they're going to get in a second.
Wow. The pick is in for the Dolphins. Wow.
Let's wait. Let's wait and see. Let me go ahead and chime in on Jamar Chase real quick before the Dolphins, our loyal Dolphins. Again, I do think it's an amazing pick, just like Marcus just stated. Of course, look what he just did. He done put the hat. Was the hat on the whole time?
The hat was on.
Okay. I didn't notice till you adjusted it up.
I just put it down. I thought it was blending in with my background.
Yeah, you got the Miami Dolphins about to pick, but as far as Jamar Chase, I do feel like they should have went ahead and got Penei because you want your quarterback to be upright. How can you give anybody the ball if you do not have that O-line to give you the time to actually look downfield? But again, you can't go wrong with this pick also. I mean, I just said this is a offensive line draft heavy draft. So they can probably grab another offensive lineman that's suitable, and I do think they signed a veteran at left tackle, earlier this year, so that we kind of should have known that they probably would have went in the other direction because look, the Miami Dolphins have been doing the same thing. We don't even know who they actually gonna pick. So now, I really think that they're gonna pick Devontae Smith. Why? Because there's no other person that you can actually get. You got Kyle Pitts that we both wanted. He's gone. You got Jamar Chase. He's gone. I've been hearing that they wanted to get rid of Eric Flowers for a year now because of the injury, and two, because the contract didn't, it didn't make sense. You was paying him for all that money, I think $9 to $10 million a year to be like a C+ offensive lineman. And right now, I do like the Miami Dolphins picking Devontae Smith. I do think that I like the direction we're going. I mean, you do make mistakes. Everybody's human. But again, when you do make these mistakes, they're not sitting there and like, oh, let me make it work. We made a mistake last year, signing all these players from Van Noy to Eric Flowers, giving them these contracts. But a year later, we're letting you go. You feel me? We're letting you go. We're getting the draft pick for you. We're paying you on your way out. It's all good. We're not doing you green like most organizations. But, you know, I feel like the Miami Dolphins right now will pick Devontae Smith because, you know,
I hope they do.
Me too. And not just that, the smoke screen that Devontae Smith was saying, he was like, he don't think that Tua is the best quarterback between Matt Jones and all type of stuff. Anything to make anybody think that we're not going to pick him. So the Miami Dolphins, like, please do not make us look crazy right now and go ahead and get Devontae Smith, you know, because I'm tired of drafting offensive linemen. I'm sorry.
Hey, man, I'm with you 100%. You already know, but I don't think they're going to pick Devontae Smith. I think they're going to pick Penei Sewell. He is the best offensive lineman in this draft by far. He took a year off, just like Jamar Chase took a year off because of COVID. And it looks like, obviously, that was the right move. They're both top 10 picks. But for me, you don't draft a player that can't score touchdowns. You score touchdowns to win. So you either get a player that will stop a player from scoring or will score. And here comes the Dolphins pick right now. Hopefully they don't make us cry again.
Let's see.
Miami Dolphins select Jalen Waddle. Okay.
Did I say that?
Okay, Jalen Waddle.
Did I say that?
What's up?
Okay. Yo.
Okay.
You feel me?
Let's go. All right. Okay.
Yo.
Looking like he part of the Amigos over here.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Dolphins pick. We wound up picking Waddle. Like I've been saying, I didn't say it the longest, but I brought it up at least earlier in this podcast. I'm like, yo, Marcus, I'm hearing that they probably get Waddle. You know,
okay.
I mean, it kind of threw you off because, you know, he's kind of like Jakeem Grant, you know, but look, you know, they're kind of saying that he's like Tyreek Hill. And we know Tyreek Hill, what he's been doing with Kansas City, doing his thing, having Patrick Mahomes look like a beast that he is. So again, like we've been saying, surround him with playmakers. And we just got the hearing and the pick of this playmaker. Oh my God. You know, right now on the screen, they got Tyreek Hill for NFL comparisons. Let's see what they say.
Receiver right outside for him, right? But like you said, there is a priority in protection that you should have had at this pick that I'm not entirely sure why we're trying to skirt around that idea at all, frankly.
I'm sure the Dolphins' argument is going to be, hey, we've got guys that we trust, guys that we spent high draft capital on, that we think. And listen, the Dolphins' offensive line, the pass block win rate numbers, the pass rush win rate numbers weren't great. That offensive line made improvements from 19 to 20. And they're young players in a league that, because of the time you don't have on field now after that 2011 CBA, you don't have two-a-days. You don't have as much time on the field to develop those dudes. So it's going to take a couple of seasons. That being said, if you're looking for weapons for Tua, like yards after catch, with how short Tua was air yard wise last year, that offense moved closer to the line of scrimmage. When you bench Ryan Fitzpatrick and put Tua in, this is a guy that can make up that gap.
But does it take away at all? Right? Like,
right now, you know, I am kind of feeling kind of happy because, like I did say,
I'm feeling
kind of
good.
is the best raw receiver when he was healthy. We do know Devontae Smith. A lot of people compare him to Jerry Rice as far as route running, as far as knowing what he has to do in the game. But hey, I mean, I can't go wrong with this pick. What you thinking? What you thinking, Mark?
Yeah, I can't go wrong with the pick. Like I said, I would be, you know, somewhat disappointed if we picked Jalen Waddle over Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts. But I would pick Devontae Smith over Jalen Waddle, but I wouldn't be mad at it. Like I said earlier in this podcast, I wouldn't be mad at it. I'm just glad we didn't pick no offensive lineman, bruh. Like that's the main thing I'm happy about. Jalen Waddle, I mean, when he played, he was the best receiver in college football. He was dynamic. He was on punt returns as well. He just runs after the catch. One of the best in college football of this era, I think. And then Devontae Smith, like I said, he said that Jalen Waddle was better than him, and he also said that he would not win the Heisman if Jalen Waddle didn't get hurt. And let's talk about his injury. By the way, let's talk about his injury. Now, his injury was just a high ankle sprain / fracture, which means you kind of broke your ankle, but you kind of didn't. But that sounds like an injury that does not seem like should be long term.
Exactly.
For me. To me, because football players these days, they'll have a high ankle sprain fracture. They'll have that injury early in the season. Later in the season, you see them playing again. So I think they played it safe with Jalen Waddle. He actually did play in the national championship game. He wasn't 100%. You could tell, obviously, he wasn't 100%. He just wanted to play. So you like that. You like that dog in him that he had. He was like, man, I just want to play. I just want to be out there with my boys. So I'm not all that concerned. I feel like the Devontae Parker, I did compare him to Devontae Parker with the injury because it was similar because of his senior year. He got hurt, and then the Dolphins took a chance on him anyway based on his college football tape. This is the same situation, but the injury is not as significant as Devontae Parker's injury. So there's definitely reason for optimism. I think, like you said, we can grab an offensive lineman later in the second round. I believe we have 2 picks in the second round. One of those picks can be an offensive lineman. I think this is a great pick by the Miami Dolphins. I'm proud of this franchise. I feel like this is a step in the right direction. Finally, we didn't take an offensive lineman because, like I was saying, like right before we went into the pick, I was going on a rant about offensive linemen don't score touchdowns.
Exactly.
They don't score touchdowns, and you need touchdowns to win. And this is a player that scores touchdowns. And he was at Alabama. He was with Tua playing. I think it was for maybe only one season, but still, he has some kind of familiarity with Tua. Both went to Alabama. I love the pick by the Dolphins. Thank you, Miami Dolphins. Thank you, Flores. Thank you for not picking an offensive lineman, and hopefully we'll see what Waddle does. And he's gonna play automatically. I feel.
Yeah.
And like to your point that you said earlier, I think this means we're saying goodbye to Jakeem Grant.
Exactly, and I think right now Jakeem Grant, we got him on contract for like $5 million a year. We do know that he's close to Devontae Parker, which probably is, we did re-sign him to a decent contract, reasonable for the organization, reasonable for a player that's been injury prone, but again, I do like the fact that, we taking a chance on Waddle. We took the chance on Devontae Parker. He shows that, again, like I said, when it comes to actual players that you actually pick, when it comes to you working, if I don't like the supervisor, which is Adam Gase, I'm not gonna put my body on the line. I'm not gonna go out there and do extra stuff for you. So it is what it is. But it's crazy. Oh, hold up, the pick is in. Hold up, they went ahead and picked Penei Sewell. So Penei Sewell is going to the actual Lions. That is. Do you really agree with that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. A team like that has needs all over the place. I don't think offensive lineman is a desperate need for them. I would say, you get somebody, I get a D lineman. I would say something like that. They're pretty solid at defensive back, but a linebacker or edge rusher, I would say would be the pick for the Detroit Lions, because Matthew Stafford last season, although he's not with them anymore, was always trying to outscore the other team. He was always trying to keep up. Sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't. But you need some type of stability on that D line for you to get offensive linemen. I mean, they got They got Jared Goff. I don't believe they think Jared Goff.
His name is not Goff. His name is Goof.
I don't believe Jared Goof is the answer. I mean, you getting this offensive lineman to protect Goof? I mean, I think it's questionable. Detroit is another one of those franchises that consistently making bad picks and consistently just bad. And when they do make good picks, they just end up having great seasons and Hall of Famers, and they never win anything. I.e. Megatron, i.e. Barry Sanders, i.e. Matthew Stafford. You know, like, come on. So bad pick by the Lions.
Definitely a bad pick by the Lions. Like, I definitely was not thinking about no offensive lineman, to be honest with you. You know, they got rid of their quarterback, you know, and I mean, Matthew Stafford, he's been injured lately. Why? It's because of the O-lineman. O-lineman not being able to block for him. So I kind of get it a little bit, but I do think that you had other needs that you could go ahead and address before this one. But again, you know, I guess they're looking at it like playing devil's advocate. Like, look, we had Matthew Stafford here, and we, you know, wind up drafting everything but offensive linemen to, you know, or good offensive linemen, you know, and maybe he would still be here and not wanting to leave and go to the Rams. So again, I didn't understand it, but I kind of get it because you do have a younger quarterback, and I mean, it would be like Groundhog Day, not Groundhog Year or Groundhog Organization for you to have Matthew Stafford and not, you know, have him upright. And then, you know, he wind up leaving because of stuff like that. And then, you know, getting a younger quarterback and doing the same shit that made Matthew Stafford have these back injuries and stuff like that. So, again, I don't know. It doesn't matter because, you know, historically, the Lions been trash. So it doesn't even matter. You know, next year they're going to have a top 5 pick, you know, so let's address the offensive linemen now, and then maybe next year when we're garbage again, because, you know, this year we're going to be trash for Goof. We can go ahead and get a top 5, hopefully top 3 pick and address those other needs that me or you were talking about. So it is what it is. We'll go ahead and see what it is.
Like the pick is in for the Panthers, which is interesting. Obviously, they got Sam Darnold now. They're the ones who traded with the Jets, so they got Sam Darnold at quarterback. So you got to think, okay, so they got him, and then they got obviously Christian McCaffrey at running back, one of the most dynamic running backs in the league. Although last year he was hurt for the most of the season. But when he's healthy, he's up there with the Camaras and the Saquon Barkleys and, you know, all the other great running backs in this league. They're pretty solid at receiver too, with DJ Moore and the Anderson, who also came from the Jets. So he already has that rapport with Sam Darnold. So I feel like they go defense right here. And I don't think we've had even a defensive pick yet.
Yeah, not yet. Everything is offense.
Every pick so far has been on the offensive side. And I feel, you know, they should get like a linebacker, edge rusher, defensive type of player. I feel like that is the greatest need for this team. We'll see, but because you never know, this team seems like it's trending in the right direction. It's kind of sad to see Teddy Bridgewater. I do want to mention home team Teddy Bridgewater from the crib got traded again from the Carolina Panthers to the Denver Broncos this week or last week or whenever that happened. So Teddy Bridgewater, love him. You know, obviously he's a player I've seen in high school as well. And he was doing crazy stuff in high school, stuff he's not doing now. Obviously, the injury, he wasn't the same since, but it's still sad to see him being traded around and bounced around like that. Now, all of a sudden, Teddy Bridgewater, who you thought was going to be a great quarterback, is all of a sudden a journeyman. You know, he started in Minnesota, went to the Saints, Carolina, now he's in Denver. So he's got potential to be a lifetime backup unless he can beat out the quarterback over there, Drew Lock, who is garbage too.
But I blame him.
That's another team I think needs a quarterback is Denver. Draft another one, but they probably not going to draft one this time.
They probably grab Justin Fields if anything. But as far as what you're saying, like I agree with everything that you're saying. Hopefully they pick. Hold on, they're saying the pick is in right now. Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers select J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn, South Carolina.
Okay. I mean, okay.
Okay, so
like I said, first defensive player. We were just talking about that, and I just said that they should go defense. They seem to have all the pieces on offense. So for them to go with a cornerback, I haven't seen much of this particular quarterback from South Carolina.
Well, let's see now. Hold on, let's see what they say.
Big physical. I mean, when you talk about the skill sets of these different defensive backs, I thought Pat Surtain might have been the first player off the board, but when you look at Horn, long out on the edge, battling in one of the toughest conferences in college football. I got no issues with this.
So I have an issue because he's the son of a former Saint, right? Joe Horn.
Oh,
so I'm going to take up issue with that. All kidding aside, look, as you said, big, physical, will rough you up. It might get a little problematic with the change in the rules from the college to the NFL game. If you're going to be in somebody's kitchen, you can only do so within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage at this level, right? So that's one thing. Beyond that, ball skills ain't necessarily pristine. I think there's a little bit to be desired on that side of things as well. But overall, look, you need defense, as Matthew Woodfield and them said, like, go ahead and get you a defensive ball.
Reminder, they spent every pick in last year's draft on the defensive side of the ball. That defense is...
Interesting. I didn't know he was Joe Horn's son, the former receiver who pulled out the cell phone after he scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
He was a great receiver, so obviously he comes from a football pedigree.
Yep.
But I picked Pat Surtain. If I'm
come on, thank you.
I picked Pat Surtain Jr., PS2 as we call him down here. I definitely pick him over this type of player. Now that I saw the highlights, I do remember him in college last season. The thing about cornerbacks though, sometimes you get lucky with these interceptions. And I feel like he just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Now, obviously, that is his own doing because you do have to position yourself in the right place to make a play. But I think cornerback is one of those positions you don't draft high on. You don't draft high in the top 10 unless, for me, it's Pat Surtain Jr. To me, he's the best cover corner. Obviously, I'm biased for obvious reasons. This is a player that I've seen in high school. I mean, people didn't throw his way. People just never threw his way because he was locking down whoever he covered. It was basically Surtain Jr. Island out there, like how it used to be Revis Island in high school. And it seemed like it was the same in college as well, because you didn't see him make a whole bunch of great plays in college, but they didn't throw his way because the receiver that he was covering was never open. So I question this pick, by the Carolina Panthers. If you're going to pick a cornerback, I say you pick the young boy from the crib, and his dad is a cornerback. Now, this guy's dad is a receiver. Now, who do you think would be the better decision? Where the dad is a receiver or the dad is a cornerback, and a Pro Bowl cornerback at that? Both of them was Pro Bowlers. I give him that. But come on, man, Pat Surtain Jr., obviously I'm biased for a lot of reasons.
you know, background.
Look at the background. Obviously, Pat Surtain, one of the best cornerbacks to ever play for the Dolphins. Obviously, I'm biased for a lot of reasons, but I just don't like the pick by the Panthers.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. The Panthers, I think they're trying to stay in the South, South Carolina, and then you got Carolina,
That's
so
true.
again,
That's true.
They may have, be blinded by being able to see this guy often.
True.
It is what it is, Again, I agree with you. I would go with Pat Surtain Jr., of course, because you got, Surtain as your dad. Like, what are you talking about? But again, your dad was Joe Horn, and who's the better, who both of them can actually teach you something. He can teach you what wide receivers do, how to jam them, what wide receivers normally do. Them small little things that the coach can teach you, something that players can teach you. So hey, it is what it is. You got the Carolina Panthers. We do know that they needed help on defense. Of course, you got Teddy Bridgewater that was there as the new journeyman. But he's the new Fitzpatrick of the league. But hey, it is what it is. I don't blame nobody but him, because he should be the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints right now. Now that Drew Brees retired, but he chose the money. He chose to leave. You know what I'm saying? So I can't feel sorry for someone like that. And at the end of the day, he came for the crib. And, just the plain fact that you went in the league, just the plain fact that you're bouncing around from team to team, but you're still in the league. Hey, I ain't gonna knock him. You feel me? I do know his sister. You feel me? Cool peoples. She actually looked exactly like Teddy Bridgewater. But again, at the end of the day, it's kind of like Victor Oladipo and his sister. But again, I don't love the pick, but I don't hate the pick. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate the pick because, again, like we've been saying, this is the first actual defensive player to come out in the draft. So we'll go ahead and see what it is. You have him, and we're looking at the tape, and he's been playing against elite teams. So he should have a little experience to play the players that we're talking about, the Jamar Chases, the Waddles, the Devontae Smiths. I can't say anything else about him because I don't really know him too much. Again, we both found out that was Joe Horn son recently. So hey, it is what it is. I would have went with Pat Surtain Jr. Surtain Jr. That is, you know what I'm saying? So right now with the Broncos, I don't know who they'll actually pick right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead and grab a corner in Pat Surtain Jr. also. We do know that they wind up getting Bouye, and why not, go ahead and have Pat Surtain Jr. on the other side of you with Von Miller at the D line. So again, that can be a decent defense, because you do know it used to be offense with John Elway, but he's been retired for years. So it's been all about defense when you're talking about the Denver Broncos. Now we do know they need a quarterback. I wouldn't be I'm surprised if they actually pick a quarterback, but we'll go ahead and see.
I would be surprised if they pick a quarterback, because they drafted a quarterback last year. Maybe they pick one later, but I don't see picking one. Yeah, Drew Lock, he's garbage, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on.
Garbage. But I feel like maybe they think Teddy Bridgewater is the answer. And I do want to say, you touched on John Elway. He retired a long time ago, but he's the GM. He's the guy who's running the show over there in Denver. And he got lucky with getting Peyton Manning when he first started as the GM, and they ended up going to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1.
He would have been fired already.
After that, what good quarterback have you had? And what good quarterback have you drafted? Like, they've all been pretty much kind of garbage. You drafted Paxton Lynch, who nobody thought was good. I don't know why you thought this guy from Memphis was going to be any type of answer. And then Drew Lock is also garbage.
Hold on. You got the pick coming in. 1 second. You got the pick.
In the 2021 NFL Draft, Denver Broncos select Pat Surtain Jr.
Oh, Pat Surtain Jr., just like Westradamus predicted. Pat Surtain Jr., PS2, you already know, is on his way. I see Pat Surtain right there, Coach Surtain. I see him because he coaches American Heritage. He's the head coach of American Heritage down here in the crib. So it's great to see Pat Surtain Jr. from the crib, the first pick from the crib in this draft so far, top 10. So glad to see that he made it in the top 10. Obviously, that means more dollars for him.
Exactly.
Like you were saying, I would have picked him before Horn, but we'll see the highlights right now, or what they're saying about him.
Here's the most important thing we will say all night about the draft. As of right now that the Broncos have made their selection, Aaron Rodgers is not a Denver Bronco. So the rest of the night is effing spectacular.
Hold on. A couple things, though. So if they'd taken a quarterback, we would have really been able to put that rumor to bed, right? You're not taking Justin Fields and then trading for Aaron Rodgers if they're already trading for Teddy Bridgewater, right? So I'm going to throw a little log back on that fire there. Here my thoughts. Everybody talking about how the Broncos remade their secondary this offseason. How they've...
Hey, come on, man. Wester Thomas, I feel good right now. You feel me? For me to just say that, like, literally 2 minutes ago.
You hit it on the head.
And they picking him. I really felt like if they didn't pick him, the Cowboys would have went ahead and picked him, because we do know that they're kind of like empty in the gas when it comes to defense. So but for them to go ahead and pick Pat Surtain Jr., PS2, like you said, like it's a real good feeling knowing that someone from South Florida, is making it in the league again. Again, you see what he does. He jump routes. He play you close. He's an actual scrapper. He's a tough guy. He in his pro day, he basically, like, he was the prototypical player. Answered everything good. Did everything that you wanted him to actually do. While other players was actually sitting out because they worried that they're probably going to drop in the draft. He done put his big boy pants out on, and he let his nuts hang and showed you, like, I do this. You feel me? I'm not worried about none of this, man. I'm Pat Surtain Jr. You feel me? My name is PS2. You feel me? So again, I do like the pick. Like I said, the Denver Broncos, since John Elway, they retired. Since John Elway retired, they've been a defensive happy team, again, they wind up getting Bouye as from the Jacksonville Jaguars, in a trade, so again, there's a new Jalen Ramsey on the other side. I'm not gonna put him at the same caliber as Jalen Ramsey, because he's not proven. But again, I'm gonna go and believe in myself, believe in Marcus and what we saying as far as look, you got a dad that is a Pro Bowler at corner that played for the Dolphins. You see it in the background. And of course, he's gonna put his son in the best position to succeed. And again, you've seen it in the pro day, you've seen it at Alabama, and of course, I think you're gonna go ahead and see it in Denver right now. Of course, you're gonna have certain people that's gonna go ahead and test them, like they've been testing our rookie corner. He actually had to sit down for a little while because they kept testing him. I think if they test him, they're gonna be like, yo, like, I'm tripping. You feel me? I'm already 2 picks in. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, Pat Surtain, man, big, strong corner, plays you strong, bump and run, and has the speed to keep up with you if you get past him. He's not afraid to tackle either. He'll run up and support and run support. And this kid's a humble kid. It's hard to believe because you're Pat Surtain's son. So obviously you grew up a lot better than we did. You know what I'm saying? But you can't tell when you speak to him. When you speak to him, he's humble. He works hard. You can tell he works hard at his craft. And every year I seen this kid just get better and better. Like, usually what happens with kids from down here, when they know they're good and they getting all of these props and they the 5-star, because he was a 5-star coming out of high school, they get complacent. And I was worried about that a little bit, him going to Alabama, but it was like the perfect situation for him, because as soon as he got to campus, Minkah Fitzpatrick left. So he just kind of jumped into that role almost automatically. I was there for his signing day for Alabama. He was still on the fence with where he was even going to go. Miami was actually in the mix in those last few days leading up to his signing day. So he decided to go to Alabama because he felt it would give him the best chance to win. And obviously that was the right decision for him. And I think he's going to be successful. And you compared him to Jalen Ramsey. I would compare him to Aqib Talib. I don't know if you remember Aqib Talib. He also played for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
His size and his just how strong he was on these receivers on the line, reminds me of that type of player. And I think he has a chance to be a great player for a long time and has a potential to be a Pro Bowler, because I don't see him slacking off at all, because I don't think his dad is going to let him slack off, to be honest, you know? Oh, I mean, what better teacher than you had this guy, you had Pat Surtain be your coach in life and then be your coach in high school. And once you get to the NFL, who's going to give you the best advice than Pat Surtain? Come on. Like, I mean, I think he's in a great situation, and he's on defense, so it's not like he has to worry about too much of what the coaching schemes are or whatnot. If you just go out there and play and make plays, you will make a name for yourself at cornerback. And I think Pat Surtain Jr. already has made a name for himself and will continue to do so in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you, and that's crazy, you know, because I'm looking at the actual screen, and you know, we know that the Dallas Cowboys was supposed to be picking, and they traded with the not the Atlanta Falcons, but the Philadelphia Eagles. They traded.
I didn't even notice that, but I meant to mention that. I meant to mention that Dallas is mad and salty right now because they wanted Pat Surtain.
I know.
They wanted Pat Surtain Jr.
Exactly.
You know, they wanted and needed a corner. So
that goes without saying what we've been saying. This is going to be a crazy draft. People, you know, I guess the first 3-4 picks, you know, was exactly how, you know, me and Marcus went ahead and stated. But, you know, I'm feeling good about the Dolphins pick right now with Waddle. You know, I'm feeling good about Westradamus and my keen eye when it comes to Pat Surtain Jr. and you know, these picks happening, you know, the way, you know, I'm saying that it's happening. That's crazy. But the last one, you know, not the last one, but the one before last, where we thought that, you know, it should have been Pat Jr. before Horn. You know, that's the only thing where we both was kind of off. He's like, what? Like, come on, man. Pastor that's the only one we're kind of off. And I think other people are kind of like, yo, like, you know, we're not saying it's a bad pick, but definitely if you see Pastor Surtain Jr. being a Pro Bowl player, being a force in the league early, it will look bad on you, because that's what they're doing right now with Tua. You feel me?
I tell you what, before they make this pick, I want to make a prediction of what the pick will be. And I think it might be Devontae Smith, because he seemed like he's going to be a Deshaun Jackson.
I agree.
0.0.
I agree.
I feel like they need receivers, you know. You know, they don't have they can't keep a healthy receiver over there. And I think that's the pick for me. I think that would be the most logical to pick, is to pick Devontae Smith here.
See, and I agree. You feel me? Like, that's exactly who I thought they were going to actually pick. You feel me? I'm happy that we're saying this now before they do pick. So when it does happen, you know, another one on the MarcWes Sports Podcast. You feel me? Because again, he do remind me of Deshaun Jackson. You feel me? A slimmer guy. You know, like Deshaun Jackson don't be looking like he's running fast, but he just looking like he's running in there. You know, so again, we do know that the Philadelphia Eagles do need quarterbacks, not quarterbacks, but wide receivers right now, because like everybody that they actually traded for or drafted wound up being injured. Unfortunately, Carson Wentz didn't have no weapons, so that's why he's out, you know, right now in Philly. So we'll go ahead and see who they actually pick.
What happens here?
You feel me? Hold on 1 second. Here go Goodell.
Devontae
Smith. Look at that. Look at that.
Another one
for the MarcWes Sports Podcast, baby. You know, Benjamin Report is right. Western Jamas is on fire. Devontae Smith, it just seemed like the perfect pick in this moment. And I think that's exactly who Philadelphia wanted to trade up to get. And they got their guy. And you know how I feel about Devontae Smith. I was thinking that he might be, you know, a Miami Dolphin. But I think he's got a great chance to be a superstar in Philly, because
let's see what they actually say about this guy.
He's strong. He wins like at the point of contact. His catch radius is enormous. There's a reason why he made some of the most dazzling catches of the year. There's a reason why he won the freaking Heisman. He's spectacular, and I love this for Philadelphia. Man, again, I cannot stress this enough, guys. Philadelphia traded back, picked up a first-rounder in the process, and got the Heisman winner.
Mina, we appreciate your time. Keep hanging out. I think we're going to call you later. I don't know if we're going to call you later, but either way, enjoy a cigar with us. Thanks for hanging out with us,
Bye,
Mina.
y'all.
All right, Field. I mean, the Giants got to be angry right now. Like, we all thought that this was on the Giants' radar. So what do you think of the pick?
I love it. I'm sure. So
Yeah, like, they're feeling like us. You look at the tape, you see how he's controlling his speed. He looked like he's just faster than everyone else. Everyone's saying that, his size is a problem, this, that, and the other, but nobody was saying that with Deshaun Jackson. I mean, he's still in the league now, I mean, he been shopped around a few times, but again, me personally, I do think that it's because, he was not in the best situation. Early on when he had McNabb, a better quarterback, even though I don't think McNabb is a great quarterback, I think he's a very good quarterback, a little bit better than average. So having someone like Deshaun Watson and now having Devontae Smith, I think that's going to be a good thing. I do not know like what's going to happen now because again, they have a quarterback in his second year. He just got this actual job, from Carson Wentz late in the actual season because of injuries and because of, I guess Carson Wentz not wanting to deal with the actual head coach. Again, going back to what I'm saying, if I am an employee and I hate my supervisor, I am not picking up any extra shifts. I am not doing anything extra for you. So looking now that they have Devontae Smith, again, you see on the screen, reception second, on receiving yards first, receiving touchdowns first. And of course, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. So I want to know, I want to try to figure out what did they have to give up to actually move back up, because at the end of the day,
we'll find out later.
Like hopefully they have to give up too much, because at the end of the day, I don't think that the Cowboys would have actually picked anybody on offense, because we do know that they need defense. But again, like you said, they salty as hell. They didn't get the person that they wanted. So, they had to trade back. And again, kudos to the Eagles. Again, it just looks like it makes sense. Everything right now, as far as what majority of the picks make sense besides the ninth pick, them picking Horn. That's the only one that we've been off on today. But hey, I'll take that one. You feel me? On the West, on MarcWes Sport Podcast, on the Benjamin Report, and also for your boy Wester Diamonds. I do not mind.
Yeah. Just Devontae Smith, the best route runner in college football. Just straight up. There's no receiver who runs better routes than him. And you can't tackle what you can't catch. And he probably doesn't have the best straight line speed in the world, but he's quick. His quickness is probably, the best in college football. And this kid is always going to be open. So you got to find him because he's going to be open, and he works very hard. He was a problem in that national championship game. When you seen it, right, Wes? He was like an impossible cover, because they put him in motion, they'd move him around. He was a problem, and they couldn't do nothing with him at all. And that's why he won the Heisman, because he was constantly open and constantly making consistent numbers. Obviously, he's going to play against higher competition in the NFL, and he's going to have to bulk up a little bit, because I think he's like 150 pounds soaking wet.
I think last time I checked, I think that he bulked up a little bit. I think he was 168. I think they say he's 175 right now. Still, that's
that's still pretty light. That's like around my weight right now.
Yeah,
that's pretty light, although I'm not as much muscle as he probably is, but still, like in the NFL, these big corners will, just run you to the sideline, and you will not even be in a play. So it looks like another trade happened. With the Bears. The Bears traded the Giants pick. But I don't know if we're gonna keep rolling with this or we just did the 10 picks. You know, it seemed like
no. We waiting for the Dolphins real quick. You feel me? We waiting
the
to see
second
what
Dolphins
the Dolphins
pick.
doing. Let's see what the
The
Dolphins
second
do.
Dolphins pick for 18.
Yeah, because I think it's 16 right now. If they move back, then we'll go ahead and conclude the podcast. But for the most part, I'm looking at it right now. You know, I really want to go ahead and see what the Dolphins are doing in the 16th pick, and not just that. Majority of everybody, they're actually not taking too long to actually pick their players. You know,
Yeah.
You know, the Dolphins pick quick. You know, the first two picks pick quick. Is just probably like the 8th and 9th. You see, you got the pick in right now. You know, so again,
I'm not sure who the Bears are taking here. To be honest, I don't know.
Let's see what they say.
Because obviously they traded up to get to this spot, so they like somebody.
NFL supporting our nation's path to recovery from COVID-19 by focusing on the critical issues of mental health, food insecurity, health disparities, and the digital divide.
Can you pick the pick?
Seriously.
The pandemic, health disparities widening.
I'm just saying.
Color, indigenous communities, and older and rural Americans. We're joining forces.
Nothing seems genuine when you have to read it.
Seriously. I don't know. I feel like Chicago is pretty solid. Pretty solid, I guess, for the future. I wouldn't go O-line. They're pretty solid at linebackers. They got two great linebackers, Trevathan and Roquan Smith. Maybe they go corner. I can see that. I can see an edge rusher as well. So who knows? Maybe we see somebody from the U get drafted. Who knows? We still haven't seen somebody from the U yet.
I mean, they do need a quarterback. I mean, they got new quarterbacks, but
So you think they take a chance on Justin Fields?
Why not? Like, come on.
Of course, you know I'm one of the biggest Justin Fields fans.
Hold on.
It'd be redemption because they were supposed to be Deshaun Watson.
Hold on. Here go the pick.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields.
Oh, there you go. Justin Fields.
Justin Thomas again.
Justin Fields going to Chi-Town, baby.
Yo. Come on, kid.
Oh,
like, yo.
I love this pick. I love it.
Me too.
Love this pick.
Come on now.
Chicago Bears. See, this is they're doing a makeup from when they picked Mitch Trubisky. They picked Mr. Trubisky, I believe, with the second pick overall when they had Deshaun Watson.
Let's see what they say about him. Hold on one second. Let's see.
Patrick Mahomes was also in that draft as well.
And I see this one paying off.
I think this will be faith rewarded. There's a great article by Chris Hummer on 24/7 back in 2019, and it talked about Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields have been 1 and 2 in life since going back to high school. Both Georgia high school projects, both 1 and 2 in their respective recruiting class in 2018. What did Justin Fields do in college that showed you there's any reason to doubt the pedigree of the player that you just got? If you want marquee stat performances, go back to 2019. If you want an all-time great game like the one we're showing you here, what he did against Clemson was eviscerate complete fatality from him in honor of the new Mortal Kombat movie. Trevor, they got to win.
And that's like the biggest thing that I had the gripe with regards to the conversations surrounding he and Zach Wilson, right? It was that Zach Wilson does all of these things wonderfully, and I do not want to take anything away from him, but Justin Fields is almost like a souped-up version of Zach Wilson, essentially. Right? Like he's just a little bit faster, just a little bit stronger of an arm, just a little bit more athletic, essentially. And we were waiting who would take a chance, theoretically, on a guy that is about as bona fide as any of them could.
Man, like, you have a quarterback like that's going to go ahead and chase down the defender that's going to go ahead and try to tackle your wide receiver you just threw the ball to, and you're able to keep up with them. Like, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I love this pick. You already know how I feel about Justin Fields. I've been talking his praises for a long time. This is a quarterback I've been watching since QB1, the Netflix show, when he was on that. And I was like, man, this kid is good, you know, and he's down to earth. And the fact that he went to Georgia, right? And I think this should be said. He went to Georgia And he was obviously, I don't even remember the other quarterback that was there. It doesn't come to mind right now who was there, but the other quarterback was a white quarterback, and he came in when that quarterback was injured. So, and then for some reason he was getting a lot of racial, things from the fans over there at Georgia.
What's new?
From the fans on the field. I heard it was on the field and through social media, just
What's new?
just talking bad about this kid. So that's why he what happened?
I said, what's new?
Oh yeah, exactly. What's new? For real. So he decided to like go to Ohio State, which is actually a better program than Georgia. He goes to Ohio State, obviously good competition in the Big Ten, and he balls out. Like it still perplexes me why this player has dropped. It was almost the same situation with Deshaun Watson. Like I have no idea why Deshaun Watson was not picked before Mitch Trubisky. I still to this day can't figure out why. Deshaun Watson
is America.
Was a baller. Yeah, exactly. Deshaun Watson was a baller in college. Every year he was balling. Every year he got better. He won a championship for Clemson, their first championship since 1980, I think it was. And he dropped for some reason to around this area too. It was like around 11 or 10 that Deshaun Watson got picked by the Houston Texans. But Chicago is the team that picked Mitch Trubisky too. So this, I feel like, is them making up for that pick. They're like, we're not doing this again. So obviously they wanted him because they traded up. They traded with the Giants. The Giants, they feel like they set with their quarterback with Daniel Jones. So they wasn't gonna get a quarterback. So they called the Giants up and like, yo, we want this guy, Justin Fields, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud because we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but you have a chance to make it up, and that's what the Bears did tonight with Justin Fields.
Right now, it seems like they're the redeemed team, because like you're saying, like everybody felt like with Trubisky, I was like, when he got picked, I was just like, what? And then him just being trashed every year. I'm just like organizations like got the history of always having garbage quarterbacks. Everything else be good. Wide receivers, running back, O-line, D-line, corners. And we're always picking the trash quarterback. Like, what are we doing over here? Like I said, like you said, it's a good time to redeem yourself. Again, same thing like with Brian Flores, with Eric Flowers, with Van Noy. He made a mistake. Same thing with the contracts. He wound up getting rid of them, and it seemed like the Dolphins on the right path. So Justin Fields to the actual Bears, a team that has the defense, a team that has like everything that it takes to actually win besides the quarterback.
Yeah.
He got two quarterbacks in front of him that are veterans. They're trash, but you can learn from them. So he don't necessarily need to go in and be a starting quarterback right now. He could sit like we wanted Tua to actually sit and go ahead and be more successful. Hold on, here go the pick
from the Cowboys. He's just gonna keep
anxiety and depression after returning from Iraq. She turned her struggle into triumph.
That's a she?
And is now a licensed social worker who provides mental health counseling. Nikia, we thank you for your service and all you do to continue to help others during this challenging time. Please do us the honor of making the Cowboys pick.
What they say.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Boo! Come on, get used to the boos.
By the way, Patrick Mahomes was also in that same draft where they got Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay.
Micah Parsons
from Penn State.
Linebacker from Penn State. This kid, to me, best defensive player in this draft. In my opinion, I think he's the best defensive player in this draft. This is the perfect pick for them because they, for some reason, and people might say I'm racist by saying this, but Dallas always has always seems to draft a white linebacker, and they never stay healthy. Sean Lee never stay healthy. Vander Bosch never stays healthy. Finally, I think they get a player here who feels that need. Sean Lee actually just retired this week because he had too many concussions, and that was a smart thing to do. And Vander Bosch, I think, is on that next. he's the next player to probably retire early because he seems to consistently get hurt. The linebacker is one of those toughest positions. You probably, banging your head more, and like running back and linebacker, you probably getting banged harder than anybody else. So to get this player to who I think is the best defensive player overall, because corner can only do so much, but a linebacker that's in the middle can rush the passer and cover pretty much equally. So I think it's a good pick by Dallas. I should have said it before because that's who I was thinking they were going to pick. I know y'all probably don't believe us, but look at the track record. Look at our track record. I was thinking like maybe they get Micah Parsons. He sat out last season, but it was the right pick for him. I think this is a good pick by the Cowboys to get this pick, and it seems like it was a great pick to trade with
Philadelphia Eagles.
Who did they trade
Eagles.
with?
The Eagles.
Eagles. So Devontae Smith. So they both win in that situation.
Yeah. I agree completely, and like what you're saying. You saying that he's the best defensive player in the draft. That's over Patrick Surtain Jr. and everyone else, and that speaks volumes, and they didn't get who they wanted, so it kind of can be a disguise, God probably done helped them out real quick, you feel me, because you're getting the best defensive player in the draft, and I know you want Patrick Surtain Jr. on PS2, but if you could still get the best player in the draft, move back, probably pick up another pick. I know you for them. The Philadelphia Eagles wanted Devontae Smith. I know they gave up something. It was not something late. It had to be, and it was in the top 10. You had to give up like a second or third round pick. Probably
they did. They're showing it right now. Yeah, they gave up the first and the third.
See now, you see, I said a second or a third round pick. There you go, the third round pick because it was in the top 10. You still get to get the player that you want. You don't have to pay him top 10 money. You still got to pay him a lot because he's a first rounder. But again, I seen him sitting down on that couch with the family, and certain people, they got that look to them. Certain people, it look like when you get them mad, you're gonna be on a wrong side of the battle. So when it comes down to the actual Dallas Cowboys, didn't get PS2, but you wind up getting Micah Parsons. Again, by Marcus, he is the best defensive player in the draft. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with Marcus and agree on that. I haven't watched too many games from Penn State, but I know in the MarcWes Sport Podcast, with Marcus saying something, mind you, he be with these players. He interviewed these players. He may not interview players from Penn State, but if they're playing down here, definitely he's seen them up close, and definitely you probably can see that on the Benjamin report. So yeah, kudos to Micah Parsons, great pick, and we'll see what the Chargers actually do. That's something that I'm kind of like questioning right now because again, you have Justin.
The Chargers seem like the best worst team in the league. They seem like they got everything, it feel like they do. They got the number one receiver, they got a young quarterback, they got decent running backs, they got two good tight ends, I believe. And they got Joey Bosa from the crib, on the D line. I believe they still got Denzel Perriman,
at linebacker,
from the U. So, me just naming all of those, I feel like maybe they go corner too. Maybe they go with a defensive back as well, because it seems like they just right there. They're close, but they're not close enough because they play in a division that's tough, probably one of the toughest divisions in football in the AFC West. Just because you got Kansas City in that division. So you're going to have to score some points, and you're going to have to stop people, and it's going to be tough. I'm not sure exactly where they go. That maybe they go with the cornerback from Virginia Tech. That's the only cornerback that I can recollect who's going to be a first rounder. So maybe they go with them.
Okay, same here. Like, it seemed like they have everything. I don't even know, like, why were they so bad last year? And they were not even that bad last year. They lost a lot of close games. You know what I'm saying? Again, like you said, they got a elite young quarterback, wide receiver. You got Boza, one of the Boza brothers doing their thing. Of course, you got Denzel Perryman from the U. It's all about the U. He do his thing. Not so great in coverage, but he's one of the pounders, when it comes to run blocking and being able to possibly jam in linebackers at the line if they do have them on the line. But again, I'm not sure where they're going with it. Possibly, like you said, possibly get a corner. Really, it's for them. I just think they just need to go ahead and pick the best player on the board, and most likely just put them in, because they were not that bad last year. Unless you're gonna draft a wide receiver, unless you're gonna draft a corner, wide receiver, because you do have a young wide receiver, but sometimes it's always better when you have two. Sometimes when you have three, Yeah. So again, we'll go ahead and see who they actually pick. Really, I'm waiting for the Dolphins, man. I'm waiting for the Dolphins to do their thing. You feel me? Like, who you think the Dolphins gonna go ahead and pick? I know we're waiting on the Chargers, but like for the second pick, who do you think that they're gonna go ahead and grab? Because you think it's gonna be offense, if it's gonna be defense, like if whichever way, who you think is gonna be?
Hey man, and this is gonna sound like a homer pick, but I feel like they're gonna go with Jalen Phillips. Yeah. I think they're gonna go with the DN. They haven't. There's not a true edge rusher that's been picked in this draft yet. I think he's the best edge rusher in the draft. I think he should be the pick for me. Now, another pick that the Chargers might pick is the other old lineman from Northwestern. That could be a pick, especially since they feel like Justin Herbert is their guy and they want to protect him. That could be possibly they pick. But back to the Dolphins, I just feel like they need another pass rusher. There's so many times where I feel like we wasn't getting no pass rush. We wasn't really getting no pass rush. We missed the Cam Wakes of the world who was always getting in the backfield and disrupting. We need a disruptor like that. And if Jalen Phillips can fill that void, that's exactly what we need. And hopefully Miami can pick Miami, and we can be good on defense.
Well, me personally, I think you saying that everyone was saying that Slater, this I don't know his name, but I know his last name. Whoever name is Slater, they were saying that he's a better offensive lineman than Panay, than Sewell.
Oh, this Northwestern guy? The one? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Again, like you said, they got everything. They don't really need too many things. You know what I'm saying? So again, if you could keep that quarterback upright, go ahead and pick him. I don't know too much about him, but I'm just saying, like just being smart. You got a quarterback, you got a wide receiver, you got the D lineman. Like, who are you going to actually grab? Go ahead and grab somebody that's going to go ahead and help your quarterback. And I haven't really watched him, but, I heard earlier on the radio that he's a better, lineman than Sewell. So he probably go there. I don't know. Let's see what he do. But again, like you said, there's no right or wrong thing with what they're saying. Hold on. Let's see who they're going to go ahead and pick. Hold on.
NFL Draft. Los Angeles Chargers select Rashawn Slater Jr.
Oh.
Is Westradamus?
Boom.
Westradamus?
Boom.
Or is Westradamus? Westradamus.
Boom. But I had to mention it first too, though. I had to say I think they go offensive lineman to protect Justin Herbert.
Yes. Yeah. You feel me? Like, now again, I haven't seen him play. But I'm just going on you know, how they were hyping him up. I seen him play probably once or twice. Not, you know, we don't get no Western games. You feel me? Like down here, it's just
I might have seen them play. I seen them play in the Big Ten championship game, but you know, I wasn't really keying in on him in that game. You know,
let's show them what they say about him. Hold on.
But movement to the initial point is top notch. And you go back, the tape that really did it for most people was the one against Ohio State. He had 9 reps in the pass rush against Chase Young. No pressures involved in that. Chase's only sack came when he was lined up over the right tackle. This is a slam dunk. This is an easy win for them.
And this is like the what I love about watching Slater is like he's teaching. He's like the guy that when you turn that film on, every offensive line coach is going to say, do this. You are capable of implementing these things in your technique. This isn't a Panay Sewell that is an athletic freak. No. We're not going to ask you to be Panay. We can ask you to be Rashawn, though, because he is so technically sound.
Exactly. A lot of Jonah Williams in the double underhooks, the ways he goes about this. What gets interesting now is we get the Vikings up on the clock here.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good pick. I think that's a good pick for the Chargers, because we already said that they seem like they pretty much have all the pieces to win that division. You know, it's going to take a lot to beat out the Kansas City Chiefs, so you might as well build on that offensive line. And why not build on the offensive line with one of the best offensive linemen in this draft? And you just saw from that tape was pretty strong. I mean, like he did that to Chase Smith in that first clip, who was dominating college football, not last season, but the year before. So yeah, I think that's a really good pick by the Chargers. Especially since it's late too. Late, like kind of in the middle of the round. I wouldn't pick an offensive lineman in the top 10, but you know, when it feels a need and you're in the middle round, I like it, you know?
Yeah, and I like it too. You know, you got someone that, I mean, he looked like he was just destroying everybody in his film. You know, that's crazy because, you know, when they're on Justin Fields, you know, they're showing an interception, they're showing him getting hit and possibly like suffering in the middle of the field, and every other player, all you seeing is positive. I'm like, why would you play negative plays on that? But again, for this one, they did the complete opposite. All you seen was him doing his thing, either mauling, pancaking someone, blocking 2 different people, block this guy, move him out of the way, and then go ahead and help on offense with another guy. So, you know, great pick. Like we said, you know, we didn't know who they were going to pick. We kind of had an idea. Why? Because they have everything else. You know, they got the quarterback, they got the wide receiver, they got an edge rusher in Boza, one of the Boza brothers, and he was dominating when he didn't even play that long. He didn't play that many games because he was injured. So imagine if he actually played more games. So again, this fulfills a need. You know, again, those close games where Justin Herbert wind up you know, possibly throwing an interception. He'll have that extra 1-2 seconds to make the right play. Again, we both do feel like he is a good player. So we'll go ahead and see what goes on. And we have the Jets on the clock right now. It's crazy.
They just traded their pick with the Vikings. So they obviously traded up to get somebody. Obviously, they're not getting the quarterback. And I do want to mention Mac Jones is falling right now. People thought he was going to be in top 5. Now he is falling. And I don't know any teams. Well, actually, the next freaking team that's coming up after the Jets,
the England Patriots,
is the Patriots. So, oh my gosh, the player that has been compared to Tom Brady just may go to the Patriots. Oh my goodness! Please say it ain't so. But I don't know who the Jets are or who traded up to pick here. To be honest, the Jets defense is actually pretty good. You know, even though their problem last year was offense, because obviously Gase was the guy running that offense, but defensively they were pretty decent. You know, they had some gaffes here and there, but I don't think it's because of the players. I think it was more so the coaching, and they got rid of their coach, Greg Williams, who's, you know, one of those coaches who just gets jobs for no reason. I'm not sure why.
This is America.
Yeah, that's a running theme on this podcast, that this is America, but he's out of there. So I feel like the players that they have are really good defensive players. So I'm not sure if they go defense here. My gut says that they go offense. I mean, they did just get their quarterback. Who knows? Maybe they get an offensive lineman. I could see them also going cornerback just in case, because there's still a couple of good ones left. But maybe a wild card is a running back. Who knows? But I really don't know who they pick here, or who they traded up to pick.
Whatever it is, I hope it's a bumbling move again. You feel me? That's what I hope. I'm not even worried about the Jets right now. My whole main focus is the evil empire. You feel me? You got Mac Jones that's falling to
Mac Jones.
You got him falling to the evil empire. And
he didn't even have to trade up. They didn't even have to trade up for him.
This is not what we're trying to have the New England Patriots do. We're trying to have the New England Patriots lose draft picks, or whatever they have, wasted to get who you want. We don't want them to just have people just fall on their lap. You got Matt Jones that came from Alabama, grumpy head coach, just like on Bill Belichick. So he's used to it. It won't be like, oh my God, like I had a players coach in college, and now I'm stuck with Bill Belichick, and he's just on my neck talking trash, this and the other, not give me any praises when I should be getting praises. So again, it's not going to be a wake-up call. He already got that wake-up call when he went to Alabama. You got Nick Saban, that is the grumpy guy of all grumps. It's like I don't know how certain people can keep jobs and talk to the media a certain way when it's their job to ask these questions. You know what I'm saying? So again, because if the media is not showing your actual games, then that fame and all that you're getting, you wouldn't be getting it. Everyone needs to understand, and I think everyone understands that besides Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. So again, I do think if I think they're gonna go ahead and pick Mac Jones at the 15 pick right now. I could care less about the New York Jets. I could care less who they pick. Most likely it's probably going to be a bumbling move again. They just drafted a quarterback, so let's see what they actually do. They traded away a lot in defense last year as far as with their safety, so they probably fulfill that need. We're not sure. And we do know that their lineman one of their D linemen wind up getting traded or getting released or something like that. So it may be something that they want to go ahead and fill in this year's draft. But again, whoever they pick, I hope it's the wrong pick.
A safety would be, to me, a bumbling move, because there's no great safeties in this draft. To me, there's not like a surefire Pro Bowler type of safety. If they get a safety, he's going to be a hit or miss type of guy, and that's why I'm thinking.
Got the pick. Hold on 1 second.
Minnesota Vikings have traded the 14th pick to the New York Jets. With the 14th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Elijah Rivera-Tucker, guard, USC.
It's a linebacker, right?
Nah, guard from USC. I was saying, I'm like,
you
just picked a quarterback, I don't know, but hey, I thought it would have been something else. Again, another bumbling move.
Another bumbling pick. Another bumbling pick. A guard, I mean, unless you are a surefire like guard, like the Notre Dame guard was a few years ago, that the Indianapolis coach, I think his last name was Nelson. He was like a surefire. He's going to be a player. Now, I don't know this guy at all. But guard, you pick a guard. I think it's a questionable pick. Another questionable pick by the Jets. Suck. Because this pick, you get a guard. A guard can only do so much. And guards are, I think, is a position that you want to get a veteran. For me, like maybe you start with a tackle if he is, like a superstar type of tackle, like the Northwestern guy or the Oregon guy. But if he's not like a superstar guard, which I don't think he is, looks like he was lined up in a tackle over here as well. So, he mixes up. It looks like he's versatile enough to play tackle. But likely, if you play guard for the most part, and then you was mixing it up at tackle, then likely you're probably a guard in the NFL. That's kind of how it usually works. Usually tackles have been tackles their whole lives. You don't just move over to that position. You could play it, and you can play it well in college, but I don't really think that's a really great pick for the New York Jets. If they got a cornerback or an edge rusher, or maybe even like a playmaker of some sort, I think that would be a better pick. But they're the New York Jets, so I'm not surprised.
Well, I think for us, I was actually waiting for the Miami Dolphin picks before we actually ended the podcast. But we'll go ahead and end it with the New England Patriots after they actually picked, because the Dolphins decided to move back again.
Oh, they moved back? They're not at 18?
Yeah. So instead of being where they would normally pick, I think they moved back,
Oh, they're at 18.
Oh, they're at 18? Oh, I thought they were at 16. Regardless of the fact, we'll still end it with New England. It's kind of getting late. It is. We still trying to have some type of night. So let's see if they go ahead and pick who we thought, Matt Jones from Alabama. So let's see what they say. Hold on.
As part of Draft-a-thon to help fight hunger. John Cox, who's behind me, a former Marine, saw a need in his community, started providing food to fellow veterans. He and his team have provided more than 5.6 million meals in 10 different states to food for vets. John, thank you for your service to our country and for helping those facing food insecurity. The stage is yours to make the Patriots pick. With the 15th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the 6-time world champion New England Patriots.
Ooh.
Mac Jones.
Of course.
Come on, man. Like, this is why you want to watch the MarcWes Sports Podcast. Like, yo, You feel I mean? You see Mac Jones.
He looks like a junior Tom Brady, man.
That's what I'm saying. So, hey, what can you say? We've been saying this, we're not going to go ahead and say too much about him because we already spoke on him. But again, he comes from a grumpy coach to another grumpy coach. So he has the actual tangibles, because at the end of the day, if you could survive Nick Saban in that quarterback war room, then I think he can survive Bill Belichick, because he cheats. So we know how that's gonna go. But again, hey, I'm great pick. They didn't have to move up, and I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I'm just mad that it's him. Hopefully it's a bust, because Alabama don't normally produce quarterbacks, and I know it's bad because Tua came from Alabama, but hopefully it's wrong about Tua and everybody else is trash from Alabama when it comes to the quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about Mac Jones is that he, for the most part, didn't make a lot of mistakes. I know they're showing a clip right now where he's doing a pick six, but for the most part, he didn't really make mistakes. He seemed like a game manager. He obviously had the best players on the field with him, as far as offensively. And then it's not like he was playing from behind or he had to win games. So I think those are the reasons why he dropped. But he is accurate. He's probably more accurate than maybe Trey Lance. he's probably more accurate than that, but he doesn't have the intangibles that you need in a quarterback. Like as far as what they were saying about Trey Lance, how he's able to read a defense or whatnot. I mean, basically, Mac Jones was just driving the car and was told not to crash it, and he ain't crashing. He just made sure he stayed in his lane, and he rode the speed limit, and he can do that for the Patriots for the most part as well. But you know, that's a different team over there. It's not Tom Brady. Obviously, they still got Cam Newton. They re-signed him, so he's not going to even play unless Cam gets hurt. So he's just going to sit back, just like Garoppolo did, develop, learn, and he is likely going to be the quarterback of the future for the Patriots.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully, again, Cam Newton get injured, or retire or go to another team, not in the AFC, and then hopefully he take the helm and then he's wind up being trash. But regardless of the fact, you know, notice that all our picks were spot on, you know, and it just shows that we know what we're talking about. So again, this is going to conclude the MarcWes Sport Podcast, and we'll definitely see you guys next week with an updated 18th pick from the Miami
we'll see
Dolphins.
you get on the 18th pick. I wouldn't be mad at a Najee Harris, though. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't be mad at a Najee Harris or a Travis Etienne, either one. I love both of those running backs. I, of course, wouldn't be mad at a Jalen Phillips. I already said that. Those are my top three, you know, to pick in that spot. But, you know, we'll see. They haven't disappointed lately with their picks. So I think they'll do us right again.
Well, you know, I think same thing with Jalen Phillips. Is either going to be Jalen Phillips, or you can go ahead and get the running back with Najee Harris or Etienne, or one more guy, you know, because, you know, we witnessed him destroy the University of Miami when he was down here. I think it was his name is Javonte,
Jamal Williams. I think it's Jamal Williams.
His name Jamal Williams. You sure?
Or it could be Javonte Williams.
I think, Javonte. I think Javonte Williams. You know, I remember his name because I think his you know, my nephew name is Devontae. So you know, Javonte would have been an easy remembrance. But hey, regardless of the fact, you know, this is gonna conclude the MarcWes Sports Podcast, and we'll definitely see you guys next week. So peace, you guys. Take care.